Okay, so thank you to the host for the invitation to speak today. I'm going to keep things quite top level and just try and talk through some of the activities that Medicines for Malaria Venture have been involved with in terms of open source. And malaria still remains a public health imperative. So in the latest WHO figures, over 660,000 people died in a year, and the vast majority of them are children under 5. So with resistance to drugs emerging, there's still a real need for new drugs. So the Medicines for Malaria Venture was really founded 15 years ago out of a market failure to develop drugs against neglected disease. We're based in Switzerland, and our mission is to discover, develop, then deliver new small molecule drugs for malaria. We're a virtual organisation, so we have no labs. Everything is done with partners. And over the period of our existence, we've worked with over 300 partners. And together with them, we've now built up for the community what is probably the largest malaria drug discovery portfolio in history. So really what transformed drug discovery in malaria was the fact that a number of pharma companies and other organisations screened their compound collections against the malaria parasite. And we've probably screened over 6 million compounds now and have identified over 25,000 actives. Now, usually this is the standard operating method for drug companies, and usually that information stays secret. But in this case, and you can see at the bottom of the screen the organisations that were involved, but in this case, a number of organisations agreed to release that data. So over 19,000 active compounds against malaria were actually published and went online. And that was successful. So a number of those organisations started drug discovery projects that delivered drugs, and a number of other groups also used that data. But probably in reality, we were a little disappointed at just how few people actually took up those hits and started to work with them. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. But one of them, when we talked to groups, was that they actually wanted physical access to samples to test. So based on that, we put together this project that was the MMV Open Access Malaria Box. So it's a set of 400 compounds, and we use computational tools to take those 20,000 hits and distill them down into a diverse 400, which we distribute free to anyone who asks for them. So there's no need to write a grant proposal, there's no peer review. As long as the things that people want to do are safe and ethical, we will supply a copy. And this really complements other activities in the area. So GSK would supply their whole TCAM set, but that's 13,000 compounds. Some labs without automation, that's too large a set to work with. So this 400 is a more meaningful number. And it's still available. We launched it at the end of 2011, and I've put the email here. You can still request a copy at that address. And we've actually really been pretty shocked at just how successful it's been. So I think now we've shipped over 160 copies of the malaria box, and you can see on the map that they've gone all over the world. So this really shows there was a huge appetite to actually receive and test compounds. And also what's quite interesting, if you remember these are 400 compounds that are active against malaria. But if you look at the breakdown of who requests them, nearly half of those people don't work on malaria, they work on other neglected diseases. We generated oral PK on all these compounds, so in many cases there are compounds that are suitable to progress straight to efficacy models, and that has happened. There's a lot of work going on to do fundamental biology to understand the target, and we're really now pushing groups to go forwards and publish the data. So what are the learnings and achievements from this project? And there were new malaria drug discovery projects that started. And also what's interesting, it did stimulate new funding initiatives. So the Gates Foundation had a grand challenge where people could apply for funding to actually test the malaria box. MMV also gave challenge grants. So I think there's areas where these small grants just to seed and trigger research can be really valuable. We've identified new targets, so we've increased the understanding of malaria biology. And really what was unexpected was that we have got hits against a number of other neglected diseases. So DNDi have isolated hits in their space. And in addition, groups have then secured funding to go on and continue work in the area. So in many cases, MNV has helped provide medchem advice, perhaps some more compounds to test. And so in the examples of cryptosporidium and schistosomiasis, people have got new projects in this area as a result of that free testing. We're still encouraging people to come forward and request the box, but also really those that have had it to put their results into the public domain. Even if they're negative results, they can be tremendously powerful in informing the community. And again, really just to highlight and recognise that the work that John discussed, that we're here, you know, Kemble has become a repository for us, so that's a very rich resource that I'll encourage you all to look at. And now really based on that malaria box project, we're now in the process of compiling the pathogen box, which is a new project that MNV has funding from the Gates Foundation to put together. And this is really a follow-on project where here we will actually collect together 400 compounds that will have activity against a wide range of neglected diseases. And you can see in the panel on the right, we've just captured some of those diseases, the key ones where we're looking for active compounds. And this is a true partnership, so we're working with other PDPs, including, as Charlie said, DNDi, also TB Drug Accelerator, but also a number of other disease experts to actually compile this list and select the compounds. Again, it will be distributed free on request, just on the provision that people agree to publish their data. And we're really hoping that this will stimulate neglected disease drug discovery. The launch date, as you can see, is towards the end of next year. And I've put the URL for the website here. We're really encouraging people to come forward with suggestions of compounds that we should consider including in the box. So feel free to contribute to that. I now want to talk about a different project that we're running, which is a true experiment in open source drug discovery. And this is the open source malaria project that we run with Matt Todd at the University of Sydney. So traditionally, drug discovery, be it in pharmaceutical companies or academia, happens behind closed doors. So everything stays secret until people deem to patent or publish. But this project's totally different in that everything happens in the open. So all the lab notebooks, all the discussions, all the decisions are online. Anyone can look at them, anyone can contribute. We even have open project meetings, again, where anyone in the world can dial in and participate. And this is really an experiment. Will tapping into the whole community actually allow us to move faster, make better decisions? Will it allow people who perhaps don't have funding to run whole projects to come involved for shorter periods of time? And Matt Todd, who put the project together, has really come up with these 6 laws by which he runs his projects. And so just some fundamental ones here, that all ideas will be open, all ideas are shared. Anyone can take part at any level, and there will be no patents because everything is done in the open. And probably I'll just highlight then this 6th law, which is an all-encompassing, that the project is bigger than and not owned by any given lab. The aim of it is to find a drug for malaria by whatever means as quickly as possible. So that's quite a brave venture, that anyone can come in, make suggestions, and if there's a better, that could take the project off in a different idea or direction to it was originally envisaged. The project's been running about 2 years, and it has been successful. People have become engaged. They've offered to run screens. Some people have offered to make compounds. Some people have given advice. And for our project meetings, we probably get 10 to 15 people from around the world who will dial in and participate. Initially, we looked at early drug discovery projects in the hit to lead phase. And we showed that the project worked. So we took all of those projects to a decision point. Unfortunately, that decision was that the projects weren't successful or strong enough to actually proceed with. But that's a standard part of the drug discovery model about finding the successful projects early. So we're now trying something a bit different, that we're working on a late stage candidate. So this is a compound that already has oral efficacy, and we're looking at moving it forwards to deliver a drug. And the hope here is that it's a bit more complex, there's more data, so there's more ways for people to get involved. So let's see how that works. And I think holding these open meetings really helped in that it gave a focus to the project, it helped decision making and discussion and really bring the team together. So where can we take open source next? And I think something we need to do is to actually encourage greater participation. And some people will contribute, for purely altruistic views, for reasons. But we need to find other ways. There have to be win-wins. We need to be able to publish the results, as Alan alluded to before. Then that's important, particularly for academics. And there's perhaps a perception you can't publish open source work because it's all on the web, but that's not the case. You can, because there's an analysis that goes alongside that makes things different. And the RSC are involved in new initiatives such as micro-publication, which again help. We need to look at resourcing, and it could be that we need different models for participation and funding. Pro bono work is common in the legal field. Could a similar thing happen within CROs? Could we get more universities engaged? So I think there's areas here where we can be imaginative and look for new ways to encourage participation. And we have to recognise open participation can be daunting. If you're putting your ideas out there on the web for everyone to be criticised, it can feel quite vulnerable. So we need a nurturing and constructive environment in which we hold those debates. And this is a new way of working, so we need to find the right structure and the right method of doing it to see if it can be successful. Software development has used this for years, so perhaps there's things we can learn from them. And I think something that's key is information sharing and IT tools. This is the gateway to the project, so it's important that we have clear and easy tools that people can navigate and see the project. And again, we need databases to share results, and Kemble have been very supportive in building a really nice interface for Matt's project. And we still lack really bringing large numbers of global drug discovery experts in, so that's something we need to do more of. And I think, again, we need websites where people can very quickly get up to speed, understand the project and contribute. So again, that'll be a key feature for the future. And M&V is committed to open source working, and I just wanted to finish by highlighting how we're working together with the Royal Society of Chemistry and the Drugs for Neglected Disease area, where we actually want to contribute to find new ways of working in an open source manner. And one of the ways we're thinking, it's very early stages, but to actually hold a meeting soon where we gather experts together, people interested in open source, to talk about what open source means and help to discuss and define best practice. So please let us know if you're interested, and watch out for further announcements there. So I'll just finish by thanking the MNV staff involved, and of course all our partners, too numerous to mention, as well as our funding bodies.